Hello ladies and gentlemen, Pronago here bringing you a channel update video for 2019. It's been one hell of a year here during the year of 2018. I wanted to give a quick shout out to the productions that we ended up completing, starting and completing, just in 2018 alone, forgetting everything that we left incomplete by the end of the year, which is stuff like Battlecry 2 and Dark Colony, and forgetting the stuff that we started in 2017 and finished somewhere in 2018, which is like Annihilation, Phoenix, probably a couple of other productions here and there that I just finished up. But just taking into account the stuff that we started in 2018, stuff that we finished in 2018, that is 56 video productions between custom campaigns and various games and full-fledged, standalone titles as video games go. Now, these also ranged from being, my own solo content, which was obviously the vast majority of it, to occasional big boys Let's Plays, like the ones that I did with Mesk and the ones that I did with Patrick. And so it was quite the experience going through the list of things from my YouTube channel, documenting all of those beautiful things that we achieved, all of those pieces of art I made. And I hope that the year has brought you some cheer and some content that you enjoyed. I'm glad that I was able to be a part of that for you guys, and so appreciate all you guys giving me feedback and telling me what you guys wanted to see. Numerous requests were completed in 2018, and of course we also launched Mapcraft, the sequel to Mapcraft, the one and only sequel to Mapcraft, if I'm honest. Certainly a beautiful, beautiful production that one was. And so that has actually ended its first season recently, on the week before Christmas, and so we'll be bringing that back. The earliest we'll be bringing it back is February. And I'm not really sure if that'll be, that soon or if it'll be a little bit later on. We're still having an ongoing conversation about that. But at least in the month of January, I'm not returning to Mapcraft until, I clean up some stuff out of the backlog, some projects that I'm working on that are Brood War related, some video projects, and, so on and so forth. Trying to clean my plate so that we can have ourselves a grand 2019. Still sounds a little bit weird to say, if I'm honest. We also did a couple of other things here. We released the SCR version of Project Hydra, and I say we because it was very much a collaborative project, not just for Necron and myself, where we started it out in 2017, but also for all of the people who tested it and gave me some feedback on the construction of the campaign, the balancing, the timing, etc. And it's going to be a collaborative effort once more, once we get into the 161 version's development, which has already begun. And, talking about the art, getting feedback on that, talking about the balance, getting testing and feedback on that for the new game state, all the new factions and stuff, the new tech trees. That's going to be great. So I'm looking forward to getting that into full swing very soon, probably as soon as February. So we'll see what happens there. But pretty happy to have released that last year as well. And we worked on a couple of Project Nemesis things, though the only things that happened were Nemesis Omega actually technically released in January, I believe, or maybe it was December, but it saw like a more polished release in January. I'm not really sure which. Still have to track that one down. So it was either December 2017 or January 2018. And of course, Nemesis Chain was worked on, but we didn't see any release of that just yet. And so, looking forward to getting started on all these projects, or resuming in some of them. And we'll see where that goes. But wanted to shout out all of the things that we ended up doing. Some interesting custom content also released this year, like Chox's Ghost Ops as a contributor project, was released this year. So I'm sure you can find that if you just search Ghost Ops StarCraft 2. And outside of that, not a whole lot going on. I like how I always do this in my own daily logs as well, where I'll go over like what happened in the day. I could have had the most productive day possible, where I did like 5 different projects worth of work or whatever. Be like, oh yeah, I did this, that, and that, and then other than that, not much. It's like, oh yeah, a whole year went by, and here's everything that happened. But other than that, I just realized, did I? Yeah, okay, I did add the Life is Strange and War of the Tribes BBLP there, so I guess that makes sense. I just wanted to make sure that the count of 56 titles, or whatever I said it was accurate there. So yeah, okay, it's accurate. That's pretty cool, man. Over 50 titles. That's more than one a week, I think, right? Or is it 52 weeks in a year? That means that we made more than one video production in terms of like Let's Plays or custom campaign playthroughs than there are weeks in a year. So that's pretty fucking good. If I can keep that average up, that'll be pretty respectable. Now, when it comes to 2019, because this is a channel update video, it's not just me where a video of me sucking my own dick. I don't think YouTube would allow that anyways. But when it comes to the channel updates, I wanted to give a special note that I would like to, generally speaking, be producing less video series like custom campaign playthroughs and full game playthroughs. I might lean more towards that department anyways of full games as opposed to custom content in general. But I do think that video game full long plays or whatever, they're probably out of vogue for me. Or they're getting to that point where I still want to make them, but I want to make them a bit more on my own terms. And I'm still interested in exploring plumbing the depths of the custom campaigns for Brood War and to a lesser extent for Warcraft 3. And also, there's some unfinished business I have with a few select projects. Like I'm thinking about whether or not I want to stream Annihilation, a StarCraft 2 campaign, and just from the beginning, start it all over, see what happened. And now that it's been officially released, and there's a number of other things that I would love to do that are related to long-form Let's Plays, like going through every single RTS game ever released, for example. Now, I'm not sure how much progress we'll make on all of those things in 2019, but as much as I still want to do them, I don't think that I can honestly make them a priority just right this second. Because what I need to do for the most part at this stage in the game is focus on, what's going to allow me to get into game design officially as opposed to just being a modder. And so I think 2019 is mostly going to be, centered around the production of additional custom campaigns and mods and whatever else I end up working on over the course of the year. So you'll see a lot of modding streams from me this year. You'll see a lot of maybe some more educational content just because I'll be working in the space a bit more. And you might end up seeing less than, 56 video productions released this year. I'm also going to be most likely starting at least one second channel just for completely unrelated to gaming content. And so at least one has already been started. I don't know if I'll end up going for another one, but stuff that'll be a little bit more focused on around a certain topic. And I won't even be advertising them here, but I just wanted to, bring them up as something that exists because of the fact that they are going to be taking away some of my time that was previously perhaps reserved for this channel. And so one of the things that I learned in the month of December particularly, it was like a nice reminder, but just in general throughout 2018, was that I often tend to try to overextend myself where I really have a lot of passion for the stuff that I end up doing. I really do enjoy doing these custom campaign playthroughs, and I enjoy making my own content, and I enjoy, even the new stuff that I'm doing with the new channels. And I really want to do them well, and I want to get better at them, and I want to keep producing high-end stuff. So, it makes sense that I would have a lot of passion for that. Otherwise, you wouldn't necessarily see all of those other things follow suit naturally. You wouldn't necessarily have the drive to do all that other stuff. And so it makes sense to a certain extent that that's what I'm aiming at. But ultimately, I think what it comes down to is I tend to overextend myself because I see, hey, I really want to do a good job with all of this stuff. And so, I'm going to make sure that I do that. But I also have so many interests that I want to do them all the time. And, it's been a lesson to learn that you have to sort of discipline yourself on, how many projects you work on in one day or in one sitting, and how long you work on them for a certain amount of time before you say, okay, that's one session done. Let's take a break for a day or something and then come back to it in 2 days or something like that or whatever. And figure out how you're going to be basically dividing your time and setting up your schedule so that you are mostly, primed to do the best work possible in the most efficient manner possible. Because it might seem the most efficient way to do this, and this is historically what I've done, is, I'll just stay up for 24 hours or whatever to spend 16 of those working on a project or some one project because if I sleep then I'll not be working during those sleeping hours or whatever. But that's a sort of an extreme example. But obviously the fallacy here is that if you don't sleep, you don't feel good and you don't do your best work. You might end up doing some work and making some progress that you wouldn't have made while you were sleeping. But maybe it ends up being worse than if you hadn't been if you had been well rested and then did it the next day. And so you end up creating more work for yourself while you undo that work so you can do better work or whatever else ends up happening there. So even though it seems logical in the moment, it ultimately ends up being disproven once you end up doing it enough. And I feel like 2018 was a year where I really put that to the test and realized, oh yeah, I can actually do a better job if I'm well rested, if I'm eating healthier, if I'm being more physically active. And so I've made some changes to my diet throughout 2018 and the latter half of 2017 as well. And now I feel like a healthier and happier human being. Now that means I feel like I can do better work overall. So that's sort of where we're standing in that regard. And I'm really happy, really really excited as well to push that to the limits, or whatever limits I'm comfortable with, I guess. But that sort of is an oxymoron. I want to see how far I can go with that, and how productive I can actually be when focusing on things that I truly am passionate about, again, but doing so in an intelligent way, where the schedule is laid out for productivity, as opposed to, just sort of doing whatever whenever I feel like it. And so I guess that's really where we can end on that positive note for the future, looking forward towards making more custom content than videos, perhaps, or making I guess diversifying the amount of content and the kinds of content I'm making, but still being efficient along the same patterns. And the reason why I wanted to bring up the scheduling system in particular is because, maybe it might not be so rigid as every Monday I'm doing this and every Tuesday I'm doing that. It might be more like, at the very least, 2 hours of every day goes to project A, and 2 hours of every day goes to project B. And I decide if I want to do 2 hour, a dedicated 2 hour period back to back all at once, or if I want to split it up in half hour or hour fragments and do it that way. And I feel like this will probably impact the pipeline in a positive way, where I'm going to basically be using my time in a more focused manner. You guys have watched me while I'm doing my modding streams, especially if they're really long ones. There might be like 15, 20 minutes where I'm just sort of fucking off, not really doing anything. And so it's hard to say, oh yeah, all 5 hours of that stream, I was working on my projects. It's not that you can't take breaks in those 5 hours. You probably actually shouldn't be working on the same thing, doing the same sort of repetitive action or whatever it happens to be for like longer than a half an hour to an hour, without taking a short break in between and then coming back to it, because otherwise you just sort of get, trapped in a trance almost, or a mantra or something. So yeah, you don't really want to do that. But what does help is taking those short breaks, but knowing and acknowledging that you're going to be taking those breaks, because it's sort of the same thing as like if you're relaxing, or if you're procrastinating. If you just say to yourself, hey, I'm going to take a break, or I'm going to do X at this time, instead of actually like hiding from yourself that you're procrastinating, then you can say, with this free time, I'm actually going to enjoy myself. I'm going to watch a cool movie, or I'm going to go on YouTube and find some cool content creators that I enjoy watching at 2 times speed, or whatever the fuck you end up doing, and play some video games, whatever. And that, hey, this is something that I'm doing deliberately. I am deliberately having some rest time, having some relaxation time, whatever you happen to be doing, recreational stuff. And then you can have the most of that time, and then come back saying, I don't feel guilty for taking that recreational time. I said I was going to do it. I scheduled it in, maybe, or I just said, I recognize that I'm not going to do my best work in this moment because I'm not in the mindset to do it. So let me do this recreational time and unwind, and then come back with a refreshed, and then you can work even better than you were before. So it makes sense in that respect. And I already was aware of that mindset as early as probably like 2016 or something, but 2018 was a mindset, or the year rather, where I tested that mindset, and I found that it worked really well. And so in many ways, just like how in 2018 I released Project Hydra for Project Hydra Rebel Yell 4 StarCraft Remastered, I was testing myself to see, is Remastered a good platform for custom content? I ended up saying no to that. And I was also testing, like, what does the AI system need? What does AI infrastructure need for it to work properly to the specifications that I'm drafting up? And then iQuare did a lot of the things that I requested, and Nave did a lot of the things I requested for that. And so that gave me more tools to work with. And 2018 was basically like a test bed for that as it pertains to Brood War. Well, it was also a test bed for a lot of productivity-based mindset things. And I feel like that's really going to lend to a more positive and more productive 2019. And so we also had a lot of really silly things, as I outlined in the podcast that I did with Mesk, basically reviewing 2018. But I feel like I didn't cover the positives enough in that moment. Maybe I just wasn't thinking about them, or, I felt like I was looking forward to 2019 and predicting what was going to happen there, and talking about the projects that I had in mind going on in 2019. Then I was thinking about what was going to positively impact my mindset and my production and my pipeline that I learned in 2018, how I'm going to carry that over to 2019. That's what this audio, not really video, has been about. So that's sort of where we're at for 2019. Thank you guys for continuing to hang around, and I'm glad that you guys are getting something out of it. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it, and hopefully it's been helpful, educational, entertaining, whatever. Hopefully you're getting something out of it. And again, if you have some specific requests, feel free to let me know across any of the channels that you contact me through, be it my Discord server or YouTube comments or whatever. And I will definitely be keeping you guys apprised of my latest moves as they pertain to custom content and video games, whatever else. So expect some more custom content, some more streams, some more streams with Patrick and Mesk and whatever else. We'll figure out what we're going to do for content. rest assured it's definitely coming. But I just did want to make a special note that I will be probably focusing a bit more on custom content than video content than, as compared to 2018. Doesn't mean there's not going to be any video content. Obviously, I still got plenty of things to do. My plate is ever full of options. I definitely have a lot on my plate in that respect. But we're going to be cleaning off the stuff from 2018 first, and then doing some new stuff that's 2019 exclusive. We're going to handle that stuff. Like I think Portal and Portal 2 I'm going to be doing with Patrick, and I want to say that Meska and I are going to find something to do, but I can't remember what the title it was, so just expect something from Meska myself. It'll probably be terrible.